It seems that Facebook has a war room with people that are gathered in order to fight against election interference. This is incredibly hilarious for anyone that has two brain cells to rub together. You got a multi-million-dollar company, one where the co-founder of Facebook donated $20 million to Hillary Clinton. So they're clearly having a political interest, a political bias. And even though no one asked them, even though it's not in their mandate, they decided that they're going to censor and they're going to crack down on things that they believe to be what they call election interference. And in this war room, they even have like an American flag, which is quite funny because they're going to fight against American citizens that are posting things they don't like on Facebook. And already they've banned several pages that have millions of users. Pages that weren't breaking any of Facebook's guidelines, at least they weren't informed that they were. They banned Alex Jones, and according to their mission, is to look for spikes of misinformation as well as hate speech. Now, hate speech in itself is a political concept. It's not politically neutral. It is a concept that mostly defends left-leaning. Let me explain. If you look at Donald Trump and you look at why people voted for him, the most important issues that come up would be mass immigration, the fact that people want closed borders, the fact that people want nationalism, they want to put their nation first, make America great again, put America first. They're against political correctness, and most importantly, they have skepticism towards Islam. Trump promised a Muslim ban in his campaign. Now, this is basic conservatism. It's mainstream conservatism. It's not far right. It is the average Donald Trump supporter. How many of these statements can you say without them being considered hate speech? How many of the main conservative ideologies can you have on Facebook without being considered hate speech? Now, a lot of people will say, well, Facebook is a private company and can do whatever it wants. But none of these people are upset when the German government orders Facebook to ban extremist content within an hour of being posted. When a government interferes in the way Facebook is being ran and its legislation are then applied internationally, no one complains that Facebook is a private company and can do whatever it wants. And secondly, even if we are to assume that Facebook would be able to do whatever it wants, the consumers, the people that are on Facebook, should be aware of what the company is doing. They should be aware the fact that the company has a political bias and that it's going to censor specific news. Because Facebook wants to censor, they want to be the one that decide what goes on the platform or not. They want to be a publisher, not a platform. But at the same time, they want your mom to believe that when she is on Facebook, she is actually getting unfiltered news. That when something is trending, it's actually trending because it's popular, and it's not trending because there's some algorithm done by someone at Facebook that has some political agenda in order to make that thing trending. Now, what's interesting is that they're also interested in looking into Brazil's elections. And they also have a vested interest in Brazil. Now, again, we're talking about a pro-profit, multi-billion-dollar corporation that has political ambitions. And if this doesn't worry you, then let me just say it worries The Verge deeply. Now, The Verge isn't worried that Facebook is doing this type of thing. They're perfectly fine with it. However, there is another corporation that's also pro-profit, which is called WhatsUp. And apparently in Brazil, because people can't post and share information and ideas on Facebook, they're sharing it on WhatsApp. And both Facebook and The Verge are absolutely livid, as we can see in this article, on the fact that people have an alternative. On the fact that people who are against the left, they've noticed that they can't push their message on Facebook, so they're now using another application. They're using WhatsApp. And they are seemingly furious that this is going on. And they're trying to now put pressure on the corporation of WhatsApp in order to start banning these anti-left messages. And The Verge complains about this issue by saying that the Brazilian newspaper Folha published an investigation showing that the media companies are buying large groups of phone numbers and blasting them with anti-leftist propaganda on the encrypted messages WhatsApp. While it's often discussed as a chat app, WhatsApp has been message forwarding mechanics that strip away the identity of the sender and allow messages to spread virally with little accountability. So basically, they're a platform. This is what it means. Right? It means everything gets published. It's like the phone company. And it seems that the mainstream media and the people at Facebook, as well as other corporations, they don't like the idea of a platform. The idea where every message can be distributed. They created this moral panic regarding fake news. And they're claiming that fake news influence elections. And it seems almost overwhelmingly that the fake news always come from the right. It's not as if the left is also capable of pushing fake news like CNN regarding Donald Trump and the PIS dossier, or CNN talking about Hillary Clinton's emails that were leaked within WikiLeaks, and they're saying to private people that you're not allowed to download them. That's illegal. It's different for them because they're the mainstream media and you should only get your information from them, which is an actual lie. It is fake news. It is misinformation. But you don't see any consequence or accountability because CNN does it. When a multi-billion-dollar corporation does it, it's fine, just as long as the average Joe who gets on Facebook doesn't do it as well. Because then, well, it's a problem. It's fake news. It's hate speech. It needs to go away. So as The Verge is describing, the people at Facebook are absolutely livid because of WhatsApp. As we're being told in the article, what makes the scheme insidious is that it's not clear that any of the many screens in Facebook's war room are capable of capturing the activity Folha described. Misinformation is spreading virally on a platform that almost no one, Facebook included, can see inside. They hate the idea of not being able to see somewhere. They hate the idea of anonymity. They hate the idea of having to tackle with actual ideas without seeing the person who spreads them. They despise this. There are also good ideas floating around for how Facebook could make life harder on WhatsApp propaganda artists. In an op-ed published by The Times this week, Brazilian researcher Cristina Tartaglia, Fabrica Beneventuento, and Pablo Ortelando restrict the number of times a message can be forwarded from 20 to 5, which Facebook has already done in India, dramatically lowering the number of people that a user can send a single message to from its current limit of 256 and limit the size of new groups. Now, even The Verge is not lying on the fact that most of these things are directed towards the right. They're openly stating that, yeah, we are cracking down on the way right-wingers can propagate their message. Now, they're saying that these messages are propaganda. They're saying that these messages are fake. But this is a subjective thing. This is how I've heard a Democrat say at the Kavanaugh hearing, their truth. This is the truth from the people in the Facebook war room. Why would I trust them? I have not elected the people in Facebook war room. I don't even know the politics of the people in the Facebook war room. Have they hired anyone that's not a neoliberal or a neocon? I don't know. So therefore, why would I trust them when they're actually telling me that all of these messages on WhatsApp seem to be fake, that all of them seem to be misinformation? I'm pretty sure some might be, but what about those that aren't? By limiting the number of how many people can send the message, and by making sure that you can't distribute a message to more than certain people, you're also going to crack down on legit information. You're also going to crack down on actual things that might not be misinformation or might not be conspiracy theories. But apparently that doesn't bother them at all. And then we see, I've come around to the idea that an app should be able to have end-to-end encryption or viral sharing mechanics, but not both. If mobs are going to organize in democratic elections, it generally ought to be in plain sight where we can see who's holding the megaphone. I won't make fun of Facebook's war room, however theatrical in its presentation, because I think there is value in disparate teams sitting together to shoulder and sharing their knowledge. But I suspect that those teams will conclude that their colleagues at WhatsApp through their willful inaction, are undermining their efforts. So it seems that these multi-billion-dollar corporations are absolutely terrified of the marketplace of free ideas. Because the way they win arguments is not tackling the actual idea presented, but it is to look at the speaker, call him a bigot, and then conclude that they won the conversation. Because you don't listen to a bigot, otherwise you're a bigot as well. So they can't tackle the idea. Like, if they really were afraid of this, misinformation, all they would have to do would be to put a page on Facebook that everyone in Brazil has access to, where they look at the ideas presented on WhatsApp, they look at the misinformation, and they correct it. They bring counter arguments. Why don't they do that? Why is it that every single time misinformation needs to be shut down, it needs to be censored? If you cut a man's tongue, it doesn't mean that you're saying he is wrong, it just means you're afraid of him. Now, I hope you liked this video. I hope it was informative for you. If you want to help me out, the way you can do it is to share my videos. Share them on Twitter or Facebook. It would really help me out because whenever I get limited or no ads, the YouTube algorithm doesn't really share them as much. So you would do me a huge favor if you did that. If you enjoyed the video, of course. And as always, looking forward to see what you guys have to say in the comment sections. And if you want to hear the V News on my other channel, it's going to happen in 7 hours from now. Please tune in. And I'll see you all there.